Hi, this is Mike making a video to add to my collection. Today is 5/6/2025 and it's 12:44 a.m. Uh, I'd like to uh, make the comparison of the human mind as being, more or less a quantum computer. And even the programs that a computer has, a human being has programs as well. Uh, when you have robotics and stuff like that, you train uh, programmable logic control by stepping stuff through the motions and physically, moving the robotic arm or the press brake or whatever it is, CNC lathe and stuff like that through operations. And basically these things are learned by trial and error. And you know, uh, so you just you move it along physically with your hand, and you run it through different motions and whatnot. And by doing that, you're basically programming it. And it's like if with a human being, it's like if I stub my toe, then I'm going to remember the pain and the things like that. That's why sometimes we have impressions, and we got the pain body and we got the physical feelings, and then we have the like physical thing or mental things that we see and whatnot. And then of course those teach us, and by going through that, or even like lifting weights and whatnot, or exercising, you do repetition, and that repetition teaches you after a period of time. So there's a period of time, like in the frontal lobes, the number of neurons double in size and scope, and that's we learn by that. So with that being said, we have programs that sometimes we're taught a certain way, but based on our environment, nature versus nurture. And our environment, basically teaches us when we're little kids and we're impressionable. And we go through all these phases, and anyway, our thoughts, words, and deeds, uh, basically our environment, shapes and molds us, nature versus nurture. And these patterns that we have, these programs, uh, we had the same thoughts today as we did yesterday. Primarily, we have like 60,000 thoughts a day, and based on that, we have all these thoughts, and a lot of them are repetitious. And there's anyway, we can get caught up in this negative loop, and even a death drive, and or a negative loop that we're in, and sometimes we feel like there's no way out, and sometimes the smallest thing can happen, or even a real large thing that can happen, that can actually relieve you from your pain and suffering, fear and slavery. So, that's usually what your mind does. It produces a powerful delusion, and that powerful delusion can actually get you through things. And everything's a delusion, is what I'm trying to say, but the powerful delusion can be a manifestation, and that manifestation can, in fact, give you an incredible sense of peace after the wave function has been collapsed. But you have all these negative thoughts and pain, your pain body, and your pain body basically has these negative thoughts as well. And to shrink that pain body, you have these powerful delusions, these manifestations, And you know, like one of them, or even like usually they work in a series of about 7, but you know that happens about once a year. Uh, you know, but even more so with synchronistic events. But the major ones, the subtle ones, are the synchronistic events, and the gross ones are the major miracles and epiphanies. So what they do is they heal your mind. That's the purpose of a miracle. And you know, with that being said, uh, you know, you have that, and then one small thing, it could be something that you're looking for, and then that one thing basically equates to peace, and that sense of peace that you have, uh, you know, basically surpasses all understanding. And so anyway, you have these negative programs, and you know it's negative, and what it does is it basically gets you to feel depressed because your feelings turn into your thoughts, and your thoughts turn into uh, your actions, and then basically, so your feelings turn into your thoughts. It's called a thinking report, and your feelings turn into your thoughts, and then of course, you know, those deep set things that you have. You know, they basically get you to hang on to this negativity. And sometimes people do hang on to it. It's because that's all they know. And, you know, that's all they're accustomed to. And healing comes. And when it comes, you know, basically, it completely eradicates all that negativity in your heart. And so, anyway, it can turn into a personality disorder eventually. And these personality disorders can actually uh, you know, hinder a person, and even like a mental illness that can be healed after a period of time. A personality disorder can turn into a mental illness. So like schizophrenia and some bipolar disorders, you take away the bipolar disorder, you take away the psychotic features as well, and likewise, you know, like you take away those psychotic features, you eliminate schizophrenia, and of course, you know, borderline personality and every other thing under the sun. So once you heal yourself, once you heal your mind, and then of course your body can get healed. You can have scars, and you can have poor eyesight and bad hearing or whatever else, and those types of things can be healed. You don't necessarily have to go outside of yourself to find healing. You can go within yourself, the biology of belief, and heal yourself. So anyway, that's how that works. And you know, there's really not too much to worry about. You know, things take care of themselves, and you know, if you have belief and you have a lot of energy, and the energy, what it does is it makes you build up ideas and crash them down at a phenomenal rate. You know, it's an unquenchable fire. But what's going on is you're processing things at a lot faster rate of speed. And because of that, you know, you accomplish a hell of a lot more than somebody who's just basically depressed or at a lower level. And that's really, you know, kind of what the alpha male does, or the Ubermensch. So, you know, with that being said, you know, there's really, you know, supernatural healing and stuff like that. And of course, once you heal yourself, and this world becomes heaven. And then, of course, with that being said, you know, then everything else follows you. You know, money and security and happiness and fulfillment. So anyway, that's how that works. And you know, I think that's. I guess I got a few minutes yet, so I'll try to wrap this up. So anyhow, that's how that seems to work. So you have supernatural healing, and then basically, it heals your mind and your body. And once those things are eradicated, and all those blockages are eradicated, it opens the door for you to receive miracles and money and whatever you're truly looking for. But you have to face the things that you got to face first. There's an order of things, and you can't take shortcuts. You have to basically. There's a short game and a long game, and usually it's pretty much the long game. You got radical acceptance for things, and then do things that you normally wouldn't do, and actually take huge risks. Sometimes you do win big, when you take big risks. But your mind is very important. Your mind is over your body, and your mind can take you places. And eventually, it gets to the point in life, where you keep going and going and going. And then, when you get older, sometimes you get pissy about things and you get negative. I'm not saying that's true to form, but I am saying that sometimes when you get older, you end up losing your zest for life and your zeal. But when you live a full life, it's that you become empty. And when you become empty, it's not so much you get depressed and kind of empty, but it's just because you're resting your body. It's deep rest, and you're doing that, and your mind is rebooting itself. It's kind of like when you got a computer. You got DOS and you got Windows. DOS is like your reptilian brain, and then Windows would be the higher executive functions. And then, of course, you've got, all those features in your brain and stuff like that. And then, when you eradicate all these things, then you have huge miracles happen and huge epiphanies. But, the thing is your mind works like a computer. And then when you have the dark night of the soul, basically what happens is like your computer's rebooting. It's shaking off all those old programs, and you're going through a process. And then, that darkness, in your computer when it's rebooting, it takes a period of time. Sometimes it takes 20, 30 minutes, but as far as a human being goes, it takes far longer than that. And you go through that phase, and then, of course, there's light at the end of the tunnel, a long, dark tunnel. And then it's really, if you think about it, you're just a machine, a cyborg. And, you're physical, and, you're carbon based, but the thing is, just look at it like that, like your mind is a computer, and the biology of belief has to do with your thoughts and beliefs and actions, and that has an effect on your mind and your body, and it's supernatural healing with everything. So anyway, I think that's all I really have to say. But yes, everything can come true, and you just have to have patience. It's like laissez-faire. It's like laissez-faire, you think everything takes care of itself, and tomorrow takes care of itself. And, sometimes vain repetitions are pretty wasteful. And, of course, you don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to worry about how you dress. You don't have to worry about exactly what kind of diet you eat. You don't have to do that. And you don't have to wash your hands every time you eat. And, a lot of these traditions of men, are a complete waste of time. And, so what you eat, drink, and wear, don't worry about it. And don't worry about your mind and body. It all takes care of itself. There's a point in it. It's like we're living our destiny. Don't try to force things. So anyway, that's all I got to say.